Life is like riding a bicycle. To maintain balance, we have to keep moving forward. Don't stop because silence means falling. When we stop learning, we begin to die slowly. Learning is not just about school, but about how we grow every day. Everyone is a genius. However, if a fish is judged by its ability to climb trees, it will feel stupid for the rest of its life. We all have our strengths, it is just that. Sometimes the world judges them the wrong way. Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. Most importantly, never stop asking questions, because curiosity is the source of all discoveries. People who never make mistakes are people who never try new things. Mistakes are not the end, but the beginning of great learning. Don't just try to be successful. Be a person of value, because self-worth is far more enduring than achievement. I don't know what kind of weapons will be used in World War III, but I believe the Fourth World War will be fought with stones and sticks. A reminder that the war only brought us back to ground zero. Logic may take you from point A to point B, but imagination can take you anywhere you want. Don't limit yourself to only what is real, imagine bigger. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge was limited, but imagination, endless, as vast as heaven and earth. Many good things come to those who wait, but the remains are all they will get, if not accompanied by hard work. Because this world belongs to those who dare to try first. What I see in this realm is such a great order. We can only understand a small part of it, and from that limitation, we should learn to always be humble before the greatness of His creation. The most precious life is a life that can give meaning to the lives of others. The best of human beings are those whose lives are beneficial, who is reckless of the truth in small things, won't be able to be trusted to handle big things. Honesty starts with simple things. Many say, intelligence is what makes a person a great scientist. But that's not the answer. What makes them great is character. Don't just want to be successful. Be a useful human being. Because usefulness is much more valuable than personal success. If the facts don't fit the theory, then change the facts. Sometimes the world doesn't match our logic, and that's where creativity is tested. I thought and kept thinking for months or even years. 99 times I was wrong, but in the 1,000th trial I found the truth. Patience is the key to any great invention. How can we explain first love with a chemical or physical formula? There are things in life that logic cannot explain. It can only be felt by the heart. People who read too much but rarely think will become accustomed to accepting without ever understanding. Use your brain, not just your eyes. I have no special talent. I just have an enormous amount of curiosity, and curiosity is what led me to discover great things. The true beauty of friendship is knowing who you can trust. A true friend is not just a place to tell stories, but a place to take shelter when the world feels heavy. Gravity is not responsible for people falling in love. Love is never subject to the laws of nature. It has its own gravity. When you're with someone you love, an hour feels like a second, but when you sit on something hot, a second feels like an hour. Such is relativity not only in physics, but also in life and feeling. Happiness in seeing and understanding is the most beautiful gift given by nature. When we are able to admire the simple beauty around us, that is where true happiness grows. Peace cannot be maintained by force. It can only be achieved with understanding. A heart that understands is stronger than a hand that holds a weapon. The most beautiful thing we can experience is mystery. Curiosity is the source of all art and science. Without the awe of mystery, life will feel empty. There is one thing that has always intrigued me. Did God have a choice in creating this world? A question that makes us realize how little our understanding of the greatness of the universe. Women marry men with the hope that they will change. Men marry women in the hope that they will not change. And that's why the two are often disappointed in each other, because love is not about changing, but accepting. Pure mathematics is poetry in the form of logic. Every formula holds beauty. Every number has rhythm. There are two ways of living life. First, there is no miracle. And the second, as if everything was a miracle. It's your perspective that determines whether the world is ordinary or extraordinary. The toughest test in a relationship is not separation, but when two hearts disagree but still choose to join hands. That's where love is tested. Not in times of pleasure, but when it doesn't align. The task of science is not only to answer questions, but also to discover the natural beauty behind every hidden secret. Science is not just about logic, it is also about awe. Perhaps in the future, people will find it hard to believe that this amazing figure ever lived among us. But such was time. It obscured form, yet immortals held works and traces of thought. I speak to everyone in the same way, whether he's a garbage man or the president of the university, because the dignity of a man is not measured by his position, but by his attitude and kindness. From chaos, seek simplicity. From discord, find harmony. And in the midst of trouble, believe me, there is always a chance. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts. The true value of life often cannot be measured by numbers. Maybe everything can be explained scientifically, but without taste, all will lose their meaning. Describing Beethoven's symphony as air pressure is forgetting that true music is born of the soul. The world's biggest problem today is not nuclear energy, but the human heart. Because technology without conscience will only bring destruction. A man who can drive well while kissing a beautiful girl, not really paying attention to his kiss. Sometimes we try to do too many things to forget to enjoy the moment that should be felt. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but should not be oversimplified. True simplicity does not mean removing details, but understanding their essence. There are only two ways to live this life. First, life seems like no miracle, and the second, living as if everything was a miracle. The choice is ours, for miracles are not the things we discover, but the way we see the world. Don T. Try to be successful. Try to be someone of value. Success may make you known, but your worth will make you remembered. Learn from the past, live for the future, and never stop asking. Curiosity is a sign that your soul is still alive. Someone is just really starting to live when he was able to live for something bigger than himself. A meaningful life always involves caring for others. Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. The important thing, never stop asking. Questions are the door to wisdom. If you want a happy life, depend on a goal, not on other people or things. True happiness comes from a clear direction, not from dependence. A person's worth is not measured by the results he achieves. It's about how much effort he gives. When we understand that, then we understand the true meaning of life. Show compassion to others, but be strict with yourself. Gentleness to others and self-discipline are true equilibrium. The search for truth and beauty is a way for us to remain children full of curiosity, awe, and a passion for learning throughout life. Imagination is a vehicle that will take you to the future. What you imagine today can come true tomorrow, because your life is moving towards where your mind is anchored. The most precious life is the life lived for others, because when we give meaning to someone's life, our own lives become meaningful. Science is something amazing, as long as we don't lose ourselves in it. Do not let our life run out just to pursue knowledge, but forget to live life itself. Science without religion is lame, and religion without knowledge is blind. They complement each other. Logic guides the mind, faith guides the heart. It's much easier to change the atoms of plutonium than to change the evil nature hidden in people. Technology can advance, but true change starts from the heart. The only real source of knowledge is experience, because theory tells, but experience makes us understand. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I have the perseverance to hold on a little longer than others. Sometimes the difference between failure and success is just one step of patience. I don't have any special talent. I just have an overwhelming curiosity. Curiosity is the fuel of every great invention. Life is like riding a bicycle. To maintain balance, we must keep moving. Do not stop, because staying still for too long will make us fall. Peace cannot be maintained by force. It can only be achieved with understanding. Strength subdues, but understanding heals. In the process of discovery, intelligence is not the main factor. There is a leap of consciousness, intuition, or perhaps something inexplicable that leads us to a solution. Sometimes the answer comes not from logic, but from the silence of the mind. We cannot solve problems in the same way we thought when we created them. To change outcomes, we must change the way we see the world. If someone becomes good simply because of fear of punishment or expecting a reward, they do not understand the meaning of true goodness. True kindness is born from the heart, not from fear or strings attached. Anyone who has never made a mistake, those who never try anything new. Failure is not a sign of failure. It is proof that we are being courageous to grow. If you can't explain something simple, that means you don't really understand it. True wisdom is not the ability to speak complicated, but the ability to make complicated simple. Everybody's a genius. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, he will spend his life feeling stupid. Everyone has an advantage, it is just that. The world often judges things the wrong way. The supreme art of a teacher is to arouse joy in learning and ignite the spirit to express creativity. A true teacher is not just teaching, but inspiring. There are two ways to live life. You can live like there's no miracle, or you can live like everything is a miracle. That choice determines how you see the world. Many people think that it is intelligence that makes a person a great scientist, but it's not. What makes them great is the character. Intelligence without the right attitude is just empty pride. People who read too much but think too little will fall into the habit of lazy thinking. Science without reflection is just a pile of words, not understanding. A precious life is one that gives life to others. We grow not because of what we have, but because of what we give. It's more important to be a useful human, rather than just being a successful human being. Success gives applause, but usefulness leaves traces. All religions, arts, and sciences in this world, it comes from the same tree, the tree of wisdom. Its roots and branches may be different, but they all grow from the same source, the search for meaning. Not everything that matters can be measured by numbers. Not everything that can be measured really matters. Life is not about data and calculations, but about the meaning we feel in it. People who follow the crowd rarely go beyond the limits set by the crowd itself. However, those who walk alone often find roads that no one has traveled before. The courage to be different is the beginning of great discovery. Faith without science is blind, and science without faith is paralyzed. The two must walk side by side, so that humans are not only intelligent but also wise. True happiness does not come from things that shine on the outside, but from the peace that grows within. When the heart is calm, the world feels more beautiful. I never think about the future because it will come by itself. What matters is how we prepare ourselves today to welcome it. In the midst of difficulties, there is always a chance. The problem is not the wall, but the door to a new road. Only those who dare to open can go further. The only thing that disturbed my understanding of the world was my own education. Sometimes the system makes us memorize, not understand. Don't let education limit your curiosity. Weaken to solve problems in the same way we thought when we created them. To see a solution, change your perspective. Change begins with the mind, not with circumstances. I never thought about success. I'm just thinking about how to keep learning. Success is only the result of perseverance and unflagging curiosity. When you stop asking questions, that is when you stop growing. Life is a process of continually searching, not simply finding, because every question brings us a little closer to wisdom. When we judge others, we stop understanding them. In fact, understanding is much more difficult, but also much more valuable. The world doesn't need more judgment, it needs more understanding. We are all part of a great whole, a universe full of mystery. Feeling detached is just an illusion of our minds. The more we are aware of that connectedness, the more peaceful we live our lives. Not everything important is easy, and not everything easy is important. Choose to do the right thing, not fast or comfortable. Someone who is no longer surprised has stopped living. The magic of life is always present, it's just that. Sometimes we are too busy to see it. I believe that intuition and imagination are stronger than logic. Logic can explain the past, but imagination can create the future. Education is not simply filling the mind with facts, but ignite the fire of the spirit to think and discover. The best teacher is not the one who gives the answer, but the one who fosters curiosity. A person only truly becomes a human being when he ceases to live only for himself. The value of life is measured not by what we collect, but by what we share. Mystery is the most beautiful thing we can experience. It is the source of all art and science. When we cease to be amazed at the mystery, we cease to be living human beings. Never give up on what you truly believe in. Miracles often come after everyone stops believing. Trust, that's the power that keeps man going. And finally, life is not about how long we've been in the world. It is about how deeply we leave a trail of goodness. For the greatest inheritance is not a treasure or a great name, but the good influence we plant in the hearts of others. A man's true greatness is not measured by his power to rule, but from his ability to control himself. Winning over yourself is much harder than winning over the world. No one really understands something until he can explain it simply. Simplicity is a sign of deep understanding, not stupidity. Life is like painting without an eraser. Every stroke, good or bad, becomes part of the work called experience. Don't be afraid to look different. The bird that flies highest is always seen alone in the sky. Authenticity is more valuable than false acceptance. Technology should make it easier for humans, not enslave them. When we start to lose control, that's when we have to return to human values. The more we know, the more we realize how much we have not yet understood. Humility is the beginning of true wisdom. Time is an illusion, but the way we use it determines the meaning of our lives. Use your time to create, love, and learn. We cannot be whoever we want to be if we continue to imitate others. The magic of life begins when we dare to be ourselves. The happiest people are not the ones with everything. He is grateful for what he has. Gratitude turns ordinary things into extraordinary. And at the end of the day, no matter how far we go, but how much light we leave behind along the way. Life is not about running fast, but about giving meaning in every step. There are no coincidences in this universe. Everything is interwoven in an extraordinary order, even when we are not yet able to understand it. Happiness does not mean everything is perfect. Happiness is when we are able to see perfection in simple things. When one door closes, another opens. But often, we stare too long at the closed door to forget to see what is open in front of our eyes. All beings in this world are connected. When one part of nature is injured, all life feels it. That is why we must live with respect for everything. One will never truly fail as long as one is willing to try. Failure is only part of the long road to success. Do not let the sound of the world drown out the whispers of your heart. Sometimes true wisdom comes from the silence you create. Life is not measured by how much we breathe, but rather from how many moments make us feel truly alive. Great people talk about ideas, not about other people. Use your mind to build, not to bring down. Don't wait for things to be perfect to move forward. Perfection is built on the small steps we dare to take every day. At the end of the day, man's greatest legacy is neither treasure nor great name, but the good influence he left in the hearts of others. That is true eternity which time cannot erase. Sometimes what makes life feel heavy is not the burden we carry. The way we look at the burden. Change your perspective, then burdens can be a lesson. A person is not measured by how quickly he reaches his goals, but from how strong he keeps going when everything feels hard. If you want to understand life, don't just look with your eyes. Use your heart, for it can feel things that logic cannot explain. Every day is a new opportunity to be better than yesterday. We can't repeat time, but we can always correct direction. Stop looking for perfection out there. True calmness comes when we come to terms with our inner flaws. In a world full of noise, the ability to listen is a rare form of wisdom. Sometimes silence is the best way to understand. Not everything has to be understood, and not all questions have to be answered. Some things just need to be felt sincerely and accepted calmly. The great man is not one who never falls. He is always able to stand with his head upright whenever he falls. Doing good doesn't always need a reason. True kindness flows from a sincere heart without expecting anything in return. In the end, it's not how long we live that counts. It is how deeply we give meaning to this life. Because even a short life can be eternal if lived with love and wisdom. When we stop looking for who's right and who's wrong, we begin to find true peace. Sometimes maturity comes not from victory, but from understanding. Not all differences have to be debated. Some just need to be respected, because diversity is part of the beauty of life. Life that is too busy pursuing perfection often forgets to enjoy the process. In fact, it is precisely in the journey that lies true happiness. Every wound carries a message. Don't just feel the pain, understand its meaning. Because often wounds are the most honest teachers. When you feel disoriented, don't panic. Even stars don't always shine bright in a cloudy sky. Trust me, your light will return when the time comes. Nothing is really lost in this life. Every meeting, every farewell, all leave behind the lessons that shape who we are today. Someone who can control his anger is stronger than those who conquer thousands of enemies. The greatest power is always born of self-control. Sometimes we have to lose something to learn the meaning of appreciating. And you have to get lost first to really know your way home. When words are no longer able to explain, let your actions speak. Silent kindness is more meaningful than 1,000 unkept promises. And at the end of the day, life isn't about who gets there the soonest, but who has the most kindness along the way. That is the true meaning of a precious life. Sometimes, we are so busy chasing big things that we forget to be grateful for small things. In fact, true happiness often hides in simple moments that we ignore. Not everything we plan will go as expected. However, everything that happens must bring lessons, whether about patience, sincerity, or strength. A man is wise not because he knows everything, but because he knows when to be silent and when to speak. Stop looking for the meaning of life out there. The true meaning of life lies in the way we treat others and ourselves on a daily basis. There is no light without shadow. So is life, but without sorrow, we will never truly understand the meaning of happiness. If you want to see a miracle, look at yourself. Life, breath, and love are all forms of miracles that we often take for granted. As we learn to give selflessly, life will reward you with peace that nothing can buy. The world won't be a better place just because we want it to be, but because we dare to do something no matter how small it is. You don't have to be perfect to make a change. It is enough to be sincere yourself, because sincerity is able to touch the heart more deeply than false perfection. And at the end of the day, life wisdom is not about how much we know, but how deeply we understand. Life is not to be memorized, but to be lived with love, gratitude, and awareness. Don't let the past steal your happiness today. What is past is a teacher, not a prison. Learn from it, then step forward with a light heart. Everyone comes into our lives with purpose. Some come to teach lessons, some come to give memories, and some come to grow us stronger. Not everyone will understand the path you have chosen, but that's okay, because your life is not for everyone to understand, but to be lived with confidence and an honest heart. Sometimes we seek peace too far, even though it always stays inside. Just be quiet, then you will find your own home. Stop waiting for the right time. Every second you live now is the best time to start. Do not be afraid to walk slowly. Be afraid if you stop walking, because even small steps, if taken, will lead you to big dreams. People who are able to find light in the dark are those who have learned from wounds. They know that every darkness is temporary. Life is not about how much we have, but how much we give meaning. True wealth is not in wealth, but in an open heart and a peaceful mind. In a world full of noise, be a soothing sound, for tranquility is the highest form of wisdom. In the end, no trip is wasted. Every step, though wrong, though slow, always brings us a little closer to the best version of ourselves. Not everything we want is what we need. Sometimes life refuses our requests not because it is cruel, but because it knows what is better for us. When you learn to accept the things you can't change, that is where you find true freedom. Life will be much lighter when we stop trying to control everything. Our job is not to set the wind direction, but to adjust the sail to keep it sailing. There's no point in regretting what happened. What matters is how we grow from it and make it part of wisdom. Every difficulty keeps opportunities hidden. Only those who are patient and brave are able to find it. Sometimes silence is a form of courage. Not everything needs to be explained, and not everyone deserves to be explained. If you want to know someone, pay attention not to their words, but to how they treat others. True personality always appears in small actions. Simplicity does not mean shortcomings, but freedom from unnecessary burdens. In simplicity, we can find the purest peace. Don't let the harsh world turn your heart to stone. Be gentle, for that is where the true power of man lies. And when all has passed, what remains is not what we gather, but what we give, teach, and leave for those who come after us. Life does not wait for us to be ready. Every second is an invitation to grow, even when we are still in doubt and fear. Often, we are too busy looking for the meaning of life to forget to enjoy life itself. In fact, the meaning is often present between laughter, silence, and small things that we ignore. Don't let the future scare you and the past shackle you. Life really only exists in one place, the here and now. Time is not something to be pursued, but something to be cherished. For the outcast will never return, and the conscious lived will be eternal in memory. A wise man knows when to run and when to pause to breathe meaning. Quitting does not mean giving up, but giving the soul room to breathe. Not all change comes with a rumble. Some come slowly, quietly, but change everything without us knowing it. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others, you start really living. Peace is born of acceptance, not of race. Sometimes losing something we love is not the end. It is simply the way the universe teaches that true love does not always have to be possessed. When you learn to see the good in small things, life will begin to reflect the greater good on you. And finally, happiness is not the destination, but rather the way we walk along that journey with awareness, love, and gratitude. Nothing is stronger than a heart that has been through many wounds, but still choose to love and do good. Don't be afraid to look soft in a harsh world. Tenderness is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength that has known suffering. Sometimes we don't need more knowledge, but more awareness. For true wisdom is born of an open heart, not a full head. Life doesn't ask us to be perfect, just ask us to be present wholeheartedly in every step. Man often seeks the light outside himself. In fact, the purest light always comes from within a calm and sincere heart. When we stop demanding the world change and start changing yourself, that's when the world really starts to change. Don't let failure make you afraid to dream again. Failure is just a path that prepares you to succeed in a wiser way. When you forgive, you not only set others free, but also free yourself from unnecessary burdens. Sometimes silence is the most sincere form of love, because true love does not always have to be spoken. It is enough to be felt with presence and sincerity. In the end, life is not about how long we breathe, but about how deeply we are grateful for every breath that is still given. No journey really ends. Every ending is just the beginning of a new story waiting to be lived. With a wiser heart, great humans are not those who leave big names, but that which leaves goodness in silence and changes the lives of others selflessly. The deeper one understands life, the more he realizes that love is the essence of all knowledge and creation. Sometimes the answer doesn't come from thinking harder, but from silence and listening to the soft voice in the heart. Life is not about avoiding the storm, but about learning to dance in the rain and finding peace in it. Nothing is truly lost in this universe. Even every little good we do will live on in the form of everlasting energy. When we learn to see everything as one, there is no more me and them. There is only us, part of the same universe. Ultimately, ultimate wisdom is not knowing everything, but rather understand that we are only a small part of something much bigger. Life is not about how much time we have. It's about how we use that time to create love and give meaning. And when it was all over, treasures, names, even time, that will remain alive are only traces of goodness and light that we once lit in another human's heart. That is true immortality which transcends space and time. When knowledge meets love, true wisdom is born. For without love, even the truth can be cold and directionless. Wise people do not seek recognition, they seek understanding. They know true light does not need a spotlight, just be a light around it. Sometimes, one small act of kindness has an impact invisible to the eye. However, the universe always records it in unexpected ways. This world is not only to be understood, but also to be admired. For in awe man finds the purest gratitude. Daring to think differently is not a mistake. It is precisely there that great ideas are born, that change the course of civilization. If everyone used his mind for good, the world would be a more peaceful place. Hatred is only born of a mind that has never learned to understand. As we gaze up at the stars, we are reminded that even a tiny light is able to penetrate the dark sky. So is the human heart. Life is the art of balancing logic and feeling. These two are not enemies, they are two sides of complete wisdom. There is no higher science than understanding the meaning of humanity, and there is no prayer more sacred than the desire to make the world a little better than before. Ultimately, love is the highest form of energy the universe has ever known. It cannot be created or destroyed, it only changes shape, and continues to live in every open heart. When a person finds peace within himself, the outside world is no longer able to shake him. Because true power is born from within, not from around. Every human being is a small universe full of mysteries. Our job is not to master it, but to learn to listen to its voice. There is no longer journey than the journey to self-knowledge. But at the end, we will find the peace we have been looking for outside. The mind has the power to create or destroy. Use it to create, and the universe will open its way. No time is really lost, because every second is a lesson hidden by life. Those who live with an awareness of beauty will never feel poor. Awe is a form of wealth that cannot be stolen. Do not be afraid to walk alone on the path you believe to be true. Truth is not measured by the number of people who agree, but by the depth of conscience that supports it. Pause to listen to the silence. It is there that truth often whispers softly but surely. There is nothing greater than a soul that remains gentle despite many wounds. That is the highest form of emotional intelligence. Life is short, but genuine thoughts and love will endure far beyond human age. That is true immortality. Time is not an enemy, but a patient teacher. It teaches us the meaning of waiting, losing, and finally accepting. Destiny is not something that holds us back, but rather a direction we can choose to understand. We are the ones who give meaning to every step in it. The human mind is a bridge between the visible and the invisible. When we believe, we open the gates to wonder. Everything in this universe is vibrating in perfect harmony. Those who are quiet in their hearts will be able to hear the music. Time is an illusion created by consciousness, but it is through that illusion that we learn to appreciate each moment. Sometimes what we call coincidence is just the way the universe keeps its balance. Nothing really happens without meaning. An open mind can change the future, while a closed mind cannot even comprehend the present. A beautiful life is not one free from suffering, but capable of finding the light behind every test. Every human being carries a tiny spark of immortality in his mind. When he thinks with love, that spark ignites into light. Nothing is really over. Everything simply changes shape, like energy moving from one life to the next. When the human heart is opened, it becomes a mirror to the universe. In the silence, we can see the reflection of God. This universe not only speaks through numbers and laws of physics, but also through taste, beauty, and unexplainable love. Love is the simplest yet most powerful force in the universe. It cannot be measured, but it can change everything. Consciousness is not just thinking, but the ability to feel existence gratefully. When we look up at the night sky and feel small, that's a sign that our soul is growing. Humility is the language of the universe. Every star in the sky reminds us that we also have a light inside. Our job is to keep the light from going out. Humans who realize their unity with nature will never have the heart to destroy it, for he knows that to injure the earth is to injure himself. True love has no direction, is impartial and undemanding. It flows like gravity, pulling without being seen. Human consciousness is the spark of cosmic consciousness. The more we know ourselves, the closer we are to the Creator. This universe is not just where we live. It is the part of us that is learning to know ourselves. Love is the highest form of energy known to man. It never disappears, only changes shape from one heart to another. Peace is not when everything goes perfect, but when the heart remains calm even though the world is shaking. A loving soul never demands recognition, because he knows giving happiness is the highest reward. No one really dies in this universe, because love and kindness will live on in every memory and action. Those who live with love leave a trail that never fades, not on tombstones, but in the hearts of the people they touch. When you give love, you are lighting a light in a world that is often dark. One small candle is enough to transform an entire room. Do not seek peace outside yourself. True peace grows from a heart that has forgiven everything, including itself. Every human being comes into the world with a unique mission: to learn to love in their own way. The deeper a person knows himself, the more he understands that love is a universal language that connects everything. In the end, it's not how much we live that matters, but how deeply we love and bring peace along the way. Nothing is really over, just changing forms. The energy of love and sincere thinking will live on in new forms. Everything we do with good intentions will still vibrate in the universe. Even when we ourselves have been gone for a long time, consciousness knows no time limit. It transcends the body, flows in every creation, and becomes part of eternal life. Life is not about finding a place in the world, but rather leave the world in a slightly better state than when we came. When a man lives with love, he never really dies. His name may be lost, but his influence will live on in the hearts of many. Every positive thought is a prayer sent to the heavens. Every act of kindness is an answer that descends from heaven to earth. The conscious soul no longer fears death, for he knows that life is but a short journey in vast eternity. When we share knowledge, we expand human consciousness, and in that, a small part of us becomes immortal. A true inheritance is not a treasure, not a great name, but traces of kindness, honesty, and love that we plant in the hearts of others. In the end, all life is a conversation between the human soul and the universe. Those who live in love will always be heard, even after their voices cease to exist. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of meaning. In silence, the universe speaks in a language that only a quiet soul can hear. When someone stops looking outside and starts looking in, he will find the whole universe dwelling within him. Enlightenment is not something to be achieved, but something that comes up when we stop fighting what's already there. There is no higher knowledge than understanding yourself, because that's where all the answers to life's questions are hidden. A conscious life is not without challenges, but being able to see challenges as part of growing wisdom. When we stop comparing, stop competing, and start thanking, that is where true peace begins to take root. There is no spiritual journey without the courage to let go. Sometimes we have to lose everything to find our true selves. A free soul is not one without burden, but who is able to dance under the weight with a light heart. Those who understand the meaning of life no longer seek power, but rather peace, because it is only peace that makes man truly great. At the end of the day, wisdom is not about knowing more. It's about loving more and living more simply. Everything living comes from the same source, and in the end, everything will return to the same light. Nothing really dies, because the energy of life is simply shifting forms. The soul is the eternal spark of an unquenchable divine consciousness. When we gaze at stars, we're actually looking at the past, but we also remember our true origins. God was not far in the sky or hidden in a holy place. It is present in every breath, in every vibration of love, in every sincere sincerity. The more a person realizes his connection to the universe, the more he understands that all beings are one great family under the same light. Death is not the end, but the door to a new dimension of consciousness. Only the body stops while the soul continues to walk calmly. Every life is a lesson, and every soul is an immortal disciple learning to love. God did not create us to fear him, but to understand him through love. Love is the language that brings man closer to divinity. Divine consciousness does not require religion, race, or title. It just needs a sincere heart and an open mind. Ultimately, all the science, art, and human achievement will fade away. But the light of sincere love, that is the only thing that will remain eternal with God. Life is not measured by how many discoveries we make, but of how much light we give to the world. Truth is not always found in books or laboratories. Sometimes he whispers softly in an honest and simple heart. The great humans are not those known to many, who can make others feel valuable. Every good we do is a seed of light that will grow beyond time. Love needs no proof because its own existence is proof. We just need to be calm enough to feel it. There is no wisdom without love, and there is no love without understanding. They are two sides of the same light. Those who live with a pure heart will never be utterly extinguished, because their souls will continue to burn in the hearts of those they touch. True truth cannot be forced, it can only be realized. It arises when the mind stops resisting and begins to accept. The higher your knowledge, the deeper your humility should be. For only those who are humble can hold the light without being destroyed by it. In the end, all life is a journey back to love. We come from the light, live in the light, and finally return to the light. Life is not just about finding answers, but about learning to love the question. The universe never does anything wrong. Sometimes people are not ready to understand how God works. Every event has a hidden meaning. What today appears as a loss, tomorrow may be the doorway to adulthood. No step is wasted on the path of life. Even mistakes bring us closer to understanding. Don't be afraid of change. Sometimes the universe has to break you down first so you can shine brighter. Time is just God's way of arranging his miracles not to happen all at once. Life that is truly meaningful is not measured by the length of life, but from how much love is left after we are gone. There is no end to the soul that knows love. Love makes us immortal because love is the highest form of existence itself. In the end, all humans will come to the same point. Realize that all knowledge, search, and struggle is only the way to inner peace. When the heart is filled with the light of love, there is nothing more to look for because we have returned to the source. In the silence, the inner voice becomes clearer than 1,000 words. When love is the basis of action, every step is a living prayer. There is no greater power than love born of sincerity. It heals wounds that logic cannot reach. This universe is not built of atoms alone, but also from sympathy, hope, and love. Sometimes one genuine smile is stronger than 1,000 perfect theories. When you love unconditionally, you are understanding the deepest secrets of life itself. Silence is not the absence of sound, but a space where the heart and the universe can talk indefinitely. True love doesn't need a reason to exist. It exists because it is the essence of existence. If science makes you arrogant, then you do not know love. If love makes you wise, then you already know God. Love is the only force capable of changing the world, without spilling a single drop of blood. Nature is not just a place to visit, but a home where our souls learn to understand life. Every flower that blooms is a gentle message from nature that beauty always comes after patience. If humans learn from the trees, it will know how to grow in silence and give selflessly. Look at the night sky. The stars do not compete in their light, but together create beauty. Water teaches us about humility. The deeper it flows, the calmer the sound. Nature speaks in a language that only a calm heart can understand. If we pause to listen to the birds sing, we will remember that happiness is never far away, just often ignored. True life is the harmony between man, nature, and time. When one of them is damaged, the balance of the universe is shaken. There is no place of worship more sacred than the mountains. The sea and the sky we look up with gratitude. Nature is not in a hurry, but everything is resolved in time. He is the most patient teacher for people who want to learn.